are preparing for your assignment for reading today. Don't forget, I mentioned at the end of chapter 15 that we were going to turn to the back of the page and begin our summaries in the spiral journal for Anne of Green Gables on a new page. Title of the book needs to go at the top. Our columns for chapter, characters, and summary. And again, they don't have to be perfectly straight. You can see mine wibble wobbles. You just need to be sure that you write within your columns. The reason I am showing you this part getting set up first is your assignment today will get taped on top. You see in chapter 16, something that was foreshadowed earlier comes to pass. So if you do not have a note card to do this on, that's okay. Trim down a piece of notebook paper so that it is smaller than the spiral journal page so that you can tape it in on top. Note cards do come in handy, and I used one, but it's perfectly fine if you just get a regular sheet of notebook paper, trim it down, put it on. What do you need on it? Well, so far, there are some things that you will need to copy. I've been showing you a definition of foreshadowing. I shortened it a bit from what I've been showing you to summarize and focus on the important parts. So all you need to write on your note card is that foreshadowing uses clues about important actions before they happen. And what you need to do is we're going to focus on the fact that chapter 12 foreshadows chapter 16. So the first thing I want us to do in chapter 12, I pointed this out when we came to it, but I want you to get this quote now. Normally quotes, we would put the page number it happens on. Mine is on 67, but some of you have a different version of the book that I've loaned you, and so you would be using a different page number. For myself, I am going to put page 67 off to the side. And if you don't have a different copy of the book with a different page number, go ahead and use 67 as well. The quote that I want us to focus on is where Marilla and Anne were getting ready to go meet Diana. And Anne was a bit nervous, and Marilla says about Anne and Diana, I guess Diana will like you enough. It's her mother you've got to reckon with. If she, Diana's mother, doesn't like you, it won't matter how much Diana does. I want you to copy down that exact quote. Remember, quotes are not just what people say. What characters say is called dialogue. Quotes are when you take the exact words. Sometimes it's words people say. In this case, it's words the author wrote in the book. So exact copy. Capitals, punctuation, spelling, period before the quotation marks. And think about this quote as you listen to chapter 16. Your assignment, by the time you get to the end of chapter 16, you are going to have to, you could write a quote, or you could just put an explanation here. And you can see there are only 4 lines left, so it doesn't need to be a long explanation. What happens in chapter 16 that proves it doesn't matter how much Diana likes Anne? If Diana's mother has a problem with Anne, then Anne won't be able to be friends with Diana. So you need to jot down what happens by the end of chapter 16 that proves this quote from chapter 12 does give us a clue about an important action before it happened. So here is our clue. Now, what actually happens in chapter 16 that was foreshadowed by this quote? make sure it's clear what you write, how these two are connected. But you don't have to go over to the back of the note card. It is possible to use a quote or to explain how chapter 12 gave us a clue about chapter 16 without taking too much space. However, use names. Don't say it or she. There are a lot of women involved in this, a lot of females and little girls, and if you say she, I will not understand which she you are talking about. If you want to talk about the author and you don't feel like writing L.M. Montgomery, you could just write the author. That would be shorter. You don't have to mention the author. It works just as well to focus on actions in chapter 16 that were hinted at back in chapter 12. Specifically things that are connected to this quote. So keep that in mind as you listen to chapter 16. Do not complete this until you are all the way at the end of chapter 16. It will be much easier at the end of the chapter. And enjoy this chapter. I must say this is another one where I will have to be reading some of it.